I always wanted to get back into baseball. And so I spent about 2.5 years with actually building a bat for my son. And we have these three engineers and, and working with my son named Tanner and we literally set out to make the very best BBCOR bat possible. I mean, Max Clark did a video for Soldier Sports, and it was, it was pretty amazing to see a guy of that caliber say something so wonderful about the Soldier Tank. It's lighter. It's so much lighter. It's noticeably lighter. This swing weight, you'll see it. You can't see it until the College World Series, but here's a little sneak preview.
Welcome to the Batter Up podcast, where we swing for the fences in every episode. I'm your host, Tyler, and today we are joined by the founder and CEO of Soldier Sports, Jeff Evans. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, of course. Jeff, you guys at Soldier Sports, you really fascinate me in the way you're going about things. It feels like you're disrupting a lot of the principles throughout the industry. Give us a quick intro to Soldier Sports and what you guys are, and then I want to touch on some of those elements as well further down.
Well, thank you. Thanks a lot for having us on. It's an honor to be here. And yeah, I look forward to telling you about Soldier. We started about 7 years ago. It was the company was actually started with a mouth guard that was created for military combatants. We saw a need in the space. We saw these guys, they're out training. They're training these big, huge, bulky mouthpieces. And so we created something that was really thin, small, sleek, that could take a blow, but then be able to bark out orders at the exact same time. That mouthpiece gained a lot of credibility and respect in the category, in the industry, be it at retail stores or, online. And then we just went product after product, developing different products that would truly make a difference in the category that we decided to play in. We went from this mouthpiece that was, that we call it the custom, right? Because the thinnest and the smallest and the sleekest, for these types of, the combat and the football. And then went to lip protectors, back plates, visors, that truly made a difference in each one of these different categories.
I mean, the name Soldier Sports makes so much sense with that. I mean, you're creating, from start, the mouth guard for the soldiers on the front line, but also I'm viewing it as like the armor of combat sports in a lot of ways. So the neck protectors, the chest plates. Speaking to that custom mouthpiece there, what's it like creating equipment for soldiers? I mean, we talk equipment on our front for bats for, players, and this is recreational sports, but soldiers, that raises the bar to another level.
Yeah. So we just saw a need in the space, and we saw these guys and speaking with these guys who were going through the training, and they truly needed something that would, maybe make them better in whatever different boxing or wrestling or jiu-jitsu, whatever it was. And so they could actually breathe better with the product, but then they could be able to, if there are different other parts of training, that they could actually bark out orders during, during these different training practices. So it was really neat for us to be able to provide a solution for these amazing people.
Okay. So how does something like that pick up steam? How does something it's obviously a really good product? I mean, that's the starting point, I imagine, but how does that continue to generate momentum?
There's kind of an interesting story about that, is that we had this mouthpiece, and there's a guy from Omaha named Terrence Crawford, who's the pound for pound #1 boxer in the world now. But he was getting ready for his first world title fight. And we gave him one of our mouthpieces. That was a boil and bite mouth guard, thinking that he'd use it for training. Well, he actually not only used it during training, but he actually wore it in his first world title fight. And if you know anything about boxing or, MMA, these guys are wearing $300 dentist-made mouth guards. But Terrence actually wore ours for his title fight. Clearly he won his title fight, and came back and was like, guys, this is great. Everybody needs this. And it was a big confidence booster for us, knowing that, it could be worn in, in that type of arena. And then we began to tell that story. And the retailers loved it. The kids heard it. They loved it. If it's good enough for Terrence, it was good enough for them. So
Yeah.
that's what, that kind of propelled us. And then the other products, people were like, okay, well, we believe you. This is fantastic. What else is next? And we'd always been in the drawing board. Part of my favorite thing to do is to develop product, to research, develop, and create new sporting goods products, either for performance or for safety. And so we'd been working on different products, and we'll never get into a new product category unless we have something that's truly going to change that category. We're not a Me Too company. So what I mean by that is we won't just slap our logo on something and think that it's going to survive, because it won't. And that's the innovation is real.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I would point out, wouldn't a mouth guard be more important to the guy that Terrence is fighting?
Yeah,
Just kidding there.
He should have worn it.
Just kidding there. Right. No, that's a fascinating upbringing, and it brings a lot. It makes a lot of sense that those two would be interchangeable. That mouth guard would work across so many fronts, and by making something light, as someone that I didn't play too many combat sports, but anytime I'd put something in my mouth for sports, it felt bulky, it felt big, and it felt like I wasn't myself as an athlete. So going sleek and going breathable, I could see why that took off. Now, are there other players or notable athletes that have since taken to that mouth guard?
Oh yeah, there's. I mean, it's hard to turn on an NFL game or a college football game and not see a product that we've created.
How cool is that?
They're all over the place. Yeah, it's really cool. A lot of times I don't really watch the games. I just see who's wearing Soldier products, Soldier mouth guard protectors or back plates, etc. So
that's awesome.
It's just new. It's not like the fantasy football. That changed the way people watch football.
Yeah,
people in our office, we just do screenshots of who's wearing what.
That's so awesome, and that's such great validation right before your eyes of all the work you're doing there.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I remember the very, very first time that we saw somebody wearing one of our Soldier mouthpieces. It was a Friday night. It was actually University of Minnesota, and they were wearing a Soldier product, and we were doing a lot of high fiving.
Yeah, that's a true win, and to see it continue to spread like that, it's no wonder that you guys continue to get into new. I mean, you had mentioned it earlier, but new aspects in the sporting good world. Now, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't bring up the bat you guys just dropped. So that's what we're here to talk about first and foremost. So you've done this equipment, you've done, the way I'm seeing it, more protective equipment. Now, this feels more like an offensive play. Obviously, pun intended there. You're creating the bat used in baseball games. So talk to us about the Soldier Tank BBCOR bat that just dropped this past year, and what were some of the challenges with creating that bat?
Yeah, sure. So on the baseball side, I'm a baseball person to my core. I was raised by my dad was a college baseball coach. I was raised on the field, and getting into Soldier sports, we were doing that in innovation, and because the products that we're creating we're helping these different people and players. I always wanted to get back into baseball. And so I spent about 2.5 years with actually building a bat for my son. And we have these 3 engineers and working with my son named Tanner and we literally set out to make the very best BBCOR bat possible. And I did that because I wanted him to have the very best tool, because I knew if he had the best tool, and it was, a bat's pretty easy to showcase, right? If it works or doesn't work. And so I knew that if that was available to others, that people would buy it, and they'd buy it because it was the best. And so we worked really hard, initially on the alloy and the barrel construction, the wall construction, end cap connectivity. And there's so many different little teeny tiny components of building a bat, down to the tweaks of the alloy. I mean, we went back and we counted, there were 27 different iterations, of the very first Soldier tank before we released it. And
wow,
it was, but then you think about okay, well, that's actually, it's part of my job. Right. And it was really cool. I'd go home, we'd get the new sample in, and we'd just go hit it. And and the rule would always be, I don't want to hear what's good. Right. I want to hear what's bad. Yep. And then finally getting to the part where there's not that much bad, and it's just all you keep talking about is, is the pop, and the pop at the sweet spot, the pop towards the end, towards the end cap and down to the trademark, and then after we had the alloy chosen, we moved on to to the end cap, and with that connectivity. And one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to make it loud, and so
Okay.
there's a number of different ways that you can make a bat loud, and the tweaks, and we went back and forth, maybe, I don't know, maybe a month and a half, 2 months, just on the sound that it was making, because it wasn't something that we didn't want it to be quiet, right? We wanted, if a kid hit a ball, you want everybody to hear it, right? And see it. And then you look like, what was that? What is he swinging? And so, we got into the sound, and then, finally into the end cap, then down, in one of the next parts was the grip, the comfort grip, the tack of it, the thickness of it, the squishiness of it, and then into the taper. And so every single bat that, with the tank, that we really wanted to make it have this extreme taper to it, because there's been so many different players, from young to old, to to the very best in the world, Mike Trout, who missed a significant portion of the season because of the hamate bone injury. Well, that's this taper, nothing prevents anything, right? But it can make it better, or lessen the amount of times that it happens. And that's why we did the taper how it is. It's not just, it's not just for the feel, and not just for, you actually feel the leverage when you have this bat in your hands with this taper in your hands, but it also, there's another reason why the taper is like what it is.
Man, you could tell it's thorough. Like your thought process there is thorough from the top to the bottom, and it has to be. I mean, this is a market that is so heavily, congested, with so many people wanting to get into it. You guys were forced to be this precise in everything you did to make waves in the market. What's it like to get a bat, from scratch, reviewed, tested, cleared by BBCOR, to get that certification to make it legal?
Well, the cool thing about this is that I wasn't necessarily doing it for business. I was not just doing it because we wanted to go out and create something to make a bunch of money. I really wanted to create something for my son that was literally the very best thing I could possibly create for him, right? And then we were going to sell that. And so it was like, okay, well, we're going to keep tweaking this until we've got it. And so when we had it, when we finally were like, okay, let's roll with this one, right? So then we had to take that version and have that tested. And, and through that testing process, you're like, okay, and we knew with the manufacturing, there's all the back end testing. So we knew where it was going to come out, but to actually have the test results say like they do from the only testing lab and, that tests all the BBCOR bats, to have it come back to us and hear that we tested where we tested, which is as close as you can possibly get to the 0.50 BBCOR scale, that it was amazing. There's no adjective. I'm not smart enough to tell you how happy I was, and how, it was, because we saw it on the field. We saw we saw our lab results, but then it's only real when it's real, right? When you can see that the actual, listed on the approved BBCOR bats. And so then we took that to market. We took that to market last July. And it was July 11th when we announced. So we had this bat out there, and, we're from Omaha, and you start seeing a couple kids hit the bat. And then we're at these different tournaments, right? And so we go to all these different tournaments throughout the United States, and a lot of it being in the South. But I remember being in Kansas City where there was like 3 kids that had the bat. And so I would go over and I'd go watch those games. And then, then there, a couple of weeks later, there were a lot more than 3 kids that had the bat. And then there was one team that had, that literally every kid in the lineup, I don't know if it was individually they owned one, but they all used it. Right. And so, but there's different sizes too. So you wouldn't think that every single kid had, used a 33 or just a 32. So it was such an amazing thing to see something that we created that these kids really love, and that they're doing, they're hitting home runs, they're hitting, balls off the wall, and it's like, and they sent it to us, right? They sent us all these videos and these texts, and these moms are like, oh my gosh, the dads are like, and we were just, it's just an amazing experience to have a bat that I created with my son and our engineers out of love be actually loved by these other kids, right? And the parents are like, like, thank you for helping my son. Like, yeah. And then now there's so many different kids throughout the United States and big time athletes that, that have reviewed the bat, that have, said how great of a sweet spot it is, and how, what the feel's like, the trampoline. I mean, Max Clark did a video for Soldier Sports, and it was, it was pretty amazing to see a guy of that caliber say something so wonderful about the Soldier Tank. Derek Curiel just did one. I mean, you've got kids that are going to, Missouri, Tennessee, Arkansas, Arizona State. I mean, Tulane. It goes on and on and on and on of all of these kids who have so many really neat things to say about the tank, who are clearly just elite athletes.
Yeah, that's a tremendous story. And that sounds like the past 6 months have been just a really fun ride. After, years of sweat and dedication towards, creating a product for your son. And now it's as though, so many other people get to enjoy that. It's a really cool thing to see, especially from our perspective. We sell the bat ourselves. So, we're in a small part of the process. So, you touched on Max Clark there. And for those of you that don't know, Max Clark was just taken 3rd overall in the draft last year. And the way I see it, and from my perspective, I believe you guys are doing the best job of leveraging influencer marketing to promote your product. I think you guys do a tremendous job of getting your bat into these, young, up and coming, yet influential athletes to hit with. You truly believe in the product. It's showing itself well. Talk to us about what it's like to manage those young athletes. I mean, I know a lot of them are probably in a way organic, but is there a seeding process? What's that look like on your front?
Well, a lot of that is relationships, and we have deep roots in the baseball community throughout the United States. One of the really awesome things that's happened to our business is that we just became the official metal bat of Perfect Game. And that's that
huge.
That is saying huge. It, right? Yeah. Gives me chills. We're so excited. And
in less than a year. I mean, that's so cool, Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And we're, being able to participate in that platform, right, on their platform, it's the best in the world. They've created something that's incredible, and it's the peer-to-peer marketing that you just touched on. It's these kids, these 12, 13-year-old kids. They care more about the 16, 17, the 24, 25 classes than they do who they probably don't know who the Arizona Diamondbacks second baseman is, but they can tell you that the top 3 shortstops in the 2026 class. And it's it's just everything's changed about who these kids look up to. And so being a part of Perfect Game and knowing that, right, and knowing that they have this amazing platform, well, we wanted to be a part of that, and they wanted us because we have such a great product. And so it's just been the perfect marriage, and we got to announce that on a couple of weeks ago down at the ABCA show. And it was it was amazing. And the last couple of weeks have just been really great for our company, and so many different doors have opened for us, just since that's happened.
Now you talk about Perfect Game there, and that's obviously a super notable, part of the scouting process and the upbringing of potential professionals down the line. Now, from what I know, you were a scout for the Tampa Bay Rays, from like the 2000s, right? So about
it was great.
Years ago or so.
I could go watch ball and tell my wife I was going to work. It was,
Exactly. Fun fact: I was an intern for the Rays back in 2017, so We have
Nice.
a former employee there. What is the scouting process like now compared to that? I mean, Perfect Game has taken so many more steps and elevated what it is, and video has become so crucial in the process. How is scouting different nowadays from, if you can even talk on that?
Well, I just think it's a lot of people talk about the internet scouting, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can go on to these kids have profiles and grades, right?
Yeah.
And you can actually see these different measurables of, of 12-year-old kids, 13-year-old kids, and you're able to follow them. There was nothing like that even came close to existing when, back when I was doing that, in the early 2000s. And so and then what an awesome opportunity it is for college coaches to be able to go on and see, who's available, who's left, and, with the different recruiting rules that are out there. Well, you can see the commits, and then you can go down and you can just sort by the uncommitted kids and be able to see who's available. So I think it's the world's changed, and I think the world's changed for in the better, and Perfect Game has everything to do with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even plan on asking you that. I just knew that you were a scout. You brought up Perfect Game, and I got really interested as a baseball guy. Like that whole process feels so different than when I was growing up. And when I was playing, not that I would have been part of, some of those high level conversations, but just the idea and the way that we go about things now feels so much more, it feels formal. It feels organized, as opposed to, I mean, we had a family friend that like just would get in a car and drive like 3 hours to go see a couple community ball, or like a couple high school games and catch a community college game. And it just felt like that was almost like the Wild West of scouting.
Yeah.
Well, now it feels so
it made
organized.
the world a much smaller place. Right?
Stones feel completely like, it feels like that the process is pretty vetted now. Whereas before it was kind of, hit or miss on whether you'd see a kid on a good night or something.
Sure. And then with all the different tournaments, the large tournaments that they have. And so there's just one central location where all of these really, really high level kids come and compete. And, the coaches and the scouts and the pro guys can all they can just convene in one location. It's they've done it right.
All right. So the next step in the process, as we were talking about the past, let's talk about the future here. What is on the horizon for Soldier Sports? Are you guys, I assume you're staying in the baseball industry. Are you going, to another tank bat, another iteration? Are you going to youth bats? Talk to us on that.
So we're not getting out. We're staying in the baseball space. When we launched last July with the 2024 tank, we thought we had enough inventory to take us all the way through the 2024 season, and we sold out before the season even started. And so in doing that and thinking that we had enough inventory, well, we are always innovating. And so we actually destroyed all the molds because we were creating something new, which we thought it was going to be our 2025, which wouldn't launch until, well into next year. So yeah, we did. And so we've created this bat, that 2025 tank, that still has the same exact really high score on the BBCOR scale, but we actually moved it down as well. So now you get this awesome reading in the sweet spot, but then moving it down towards the trademark, you get an amazing reading there as well. So the sweet spot's much, much bigger. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the thing that you're going to notice between the 2024 tank to the 2025 tank is that we actually moved the balance point about 1.5 inches, a little bit more than 1.5 inches towards the hands. And so
it's more balanced.
Right. And the light swing weight that you're going to get, I don't have any data behind what I'm going to say, but there's not going to be, in my opinion, okay, we don't think that there's going to be anything with this light of a swing weight out there. And when you are able to pick it up, you'll immediately see how light the swing weight is. Then, so you've got this super light swing weight, you've got the expanded sweet spot, and we've also put a new carbon fiber cap on it. And so there's some significant improvements to this bat. and it's not going to be just a new colorway, right? And so people would probably just buy it because of this crazy colorway, but it's significantly different in terms of performance. And I'll give you a little sneak peek.
Oh, looky there.
Of the new Soldier Tank.
Wow, that's a completely different look there. For those of you listening just to the podcast, it is pink and blue. It's got a little cotton candy thing going on, dare I say?
I think that's I think it's perfect.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's like a hot pink and electric blue.
Wow. Yeah, and it's still got the same sound?
Yeah, it's even a little bit louder.
I was wondering. I figured you guys probably weren't gonna. You don't seem like people that like to stand in one place.
We're trying not to. We're trying. This is this innovation in this bat is different, and we were so excited. We would have been really excited to just take this technology that we previously had and roll that into 2024 through the whole season. But since those were sold out, and we've fast tracked bringing the 2025s to market. So these are actually going to be available. The new tanks are going to drop on, I believe, February 1st, and they actually ship on Valentine's Day.
Look at that with the pink there.
A little love. Yeah.
That's so good. Now, okay. So that's a BBCOR bat. Do you guys have a youth bat coming?
Yeah. So those, I didn't plan on showing this right now, but we're going to.
Let's go.
We planned on dropping these at the College World Series and at a booth at the College World Series. We're very, very excited about it. We went right after the leader with this bat, and I'm not going to go into who we went after, but it's an awesome bat, right?
It's a USSSA bat?
Yes, it's a USSSA bat.
I have an idea who you went after.
We attacked in our opinion, the very best in the category. And it's as hot, maybe even a little tick hotter. People come back and say it's a little tick hotter, but the thing that you're going to see, you won't be able to see it. You'll be able to feel it when you pick this bat up. It's lighter. It's so much lighter. It's noticeably lighter. This swing weight, you'll see it. You can't see it until the College World Series, but here's a little sneak preview of.
Oh, look at that! You're seeing it first. Oh, I like that. That's going to make a statement right there with the Soldier green on the back.
That's right.
It's got a pink lemonade going on.
Okay, I got to put it away.
Okay. Didn't see it. That's for YouTube exclusive there.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Now, I assume the drop in the swing weight, is that some of the feedback or, that you received on the 2024 is maybe it was a little inloaded?
For the initial tank? Well, yeah. We had a lot of feedback that it was balanced, and I loved the swing weight.
Okay, so you're just going more balanced just to make it even more balanced.
Yes, we wanted to go to the extreme, and so there were bats that that we love what they're doing with their swing weight, and so we wanted to maybe go beat them, and we think we did.
Look at that! That's really exciting. As Jeff said, you can pick that up in the next month or so. So keep your eyes out on the 2025 Soldier Tank. Jeff, I could probably talk to you about this stuff all day long, but we do need to wrap up real quick. I appreciate you stopping by today. I hope you had a lot of fun talking about your products and telling your story a little bit.
Thank you so much for having me. Maybe one of these days we can do this again.
That would be a blast. I would love to. Maybe we'll even look towards next summer. Once that youth bat is finally out and able to be seen.
Well, let's go. Let's do it from the College World Series after you and I go get a whiskey ribeye.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Oh, man. I wish we didn't have to wait till June. We could drop the bat in, go get a whiskey ribeye like right now.
Let's go.
I love it, Jeff. Thank you so much for swinging by today. We appreciate you.